Greetings, my friends. I'm Andrea, astrologer, and today we invite you to the first episode of my conversations with Greta about financial astrology. So, Greta, tell me, what do you want to talk about today?
Can you make an analogy between astrology in the context of the price action and something else which is generally known?
What an interesting question indeed. So let's explore the roots of astrology usage in the past. For sure, you might have heard that it was used by the kings in order to time the optimal start of a fight so that they can win a certain war. And it was used basically for predictions for the human lives, especially the rich ones who afforded that. But it is also another case where it was used, and here I would dive a bit in a analogy with the price action. And in times of peace, it was used in agriculture, really to predict the weather and to know, do we have food on the table or not? Because in the past the conditions were pretty rough and this was really a life and death situation for people. And when I arrive to a simple analogy, maybe not the most attractive, but I would say the meal plan and the shit plan. It's the diet and the digestion. I would say that the diet, the meals that are really ingested are the astrological influences that an asset has, for example, Bitcoin, and the shit plan is the price action, what really happens. So this means that it won't be really on time. You don't have the digestion immediately after you eat. Sometimes it happens, but this is not really the case. So please have these two parts in mind in order to think about it.
Thank you. This was pretty clear so far. What does it mean in terms of time predictions?
In terms of time predictions, what does it mean? It means that it will not happen exactly to the hour and the minute the aspect is exact. This is when you eat, so to speak, but it's not when you shit. It's really something that cannot be told accurately to the minute level. Sometimes it appears as if it happens, but it is actually this separation between what you eat and its effect that you need to take into account also with astrology and with the price action. And let's go into some example to show you this orb of influence, so to speak, at various levels. It is not really purely exact, but for following it for the price action, it is sufficient to consider it as such. So let's go into it. We have different planets in astrology, and the outer planets, which are Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Also, I would consider Rahu here as well as the North Node, would have the orb of influence that is longer in time. This means that they move slower, they have cycles that are very long, especially Neptune and Pluto, for example, that would span really the lifetime of multiple generations. And it is important to really see that these aspects are rare, so rare events can happen, for example, big dumps, big corrections, and they will be exact on a certain day at a certain time, usually, because this is the way we measure time. But their influence is felt also before and after. So we talk about year level events, and these outer planets, for example, we have 12 months in a year. So we start here and we end here on the 12th month. And let's say that in the third month, which is March, we have an exact aspect from an outer planet or from Jupiter and Saturn. And we will really feel the influence for the whole month. And in case of outer planets, it would be also 1 month before and 1 month after, I would say, especially for Jupiter and Saturn. But for Neptune, Pluto and Uranus, you can consider also up to 3 months before and after. It is actually more complicated than that, but for simplicity, when you see such an aspect, this is relevant for the long-term investor especially, but also for the short-term one to really see when things can go wrong. So for example, a big correction in the market would be likely. And this is basically the way we can use it long term. Then on a lower time frame at the month level, and this is what most of you are interested, it's about swing trading. And yes, for Bitcoin at the moment it's difficult to go at this level and have very good results because it's very unstable. But in general, for us, that this works, that we do have a month with 30 days, for example. This would be the most typical number of days in a month, and the aspect is exact on the 14th. Now here we do have the planets which are really quick moving planets, and we refer here to Mars, Venus, Mercury, and also the Sun. Moon is also there, but Moon would go into hourly level, so we will talk about it in a minute. So these planets do have also their orb of influence, and it is usually 3 days before and after. Let's say that because we do have so much action, especially when you see a lot of aspects in each other, let's say that we have on the 14th, but also on the 16th and on the 18th some other aspects influencing, then you can consider valid the aspects 1 day before and 1 day after. So this is important to take into account at this moment. Then we do have also the fact that it is really Mars, which is the fuel of the price action, and this would be at the weekly level rather. I would say the week where the aspect is really exact. And to be more sure, you will have to consider 1 week before and 1 week after. Now, while the long-term aspect is active, we will have also the others which are short-term really on top of it. So never forget of the general influence at month level, and then each day we will add the daily influences to it. Weekly influences will be mainly by Mars. And we do have also the hourly influences each and every hour, which will come on top of the daily influences. And this happens really each and every day. We don't consider all the aspects, there would be too many, and these are driven by the moon. So the moon moves fastest from all the planets, and I talk planets in an astrological, not astronomical sense, just to be clear. And we do have, for example, an aspect that is really exact at 15, so at 3 p.m. and we have 24 hours in a day. So depending on the aspect, it will be several hours before and after. So here it is already quite challenging not to consider the exact influences, and they are also different. It's too complex for the human mind, I would say, but it is important to consider that 2 hours before usually and 2 hours after this will happen. It depends also on the type of aspect, but I want to make things simple so that you have an idea about how this works. So this is really the meal, and the digestion comes after. So in this orb of influence that each type of aspect and each type of planet has. And it is the way we express the time, and the price basically that would be a consequence of the influences that happen astrologically. So this is another indicator that goes into the analysis of the price action, and the advantage is that you can see it well ahead of time. So what do you think, Greta? Is this clear for you?
Yes, this was a pretty detailed explanation. I understand it better now. How do you use it along technical analysis?
Greta, I am glad this was clear and detailed enough for you to have it as a reference for the future. And yes, regarding your next question, I think we will have another conversation about it. Thank you all for your attention, and stay tuned for the next episode.